Okay, welcome, wonderful people, on this lovely Tuesday. And thank you for taking the time to be part of the Master of Public Administration information session. We have some incredible content to cover, but before we begin, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Omar Perez. I'm an online enrollment advisor for UOnline. I cover many of the graduate programs that we host, and I'm thrilled to be part of today's presentation. I hope that today's session will help you make the right decision for your career. Now, before we continue, there are some housekeeping items to cover. First, this information session will be about 45 minutes in length. So for those of you who've arrived late, had to take a break or leave early, no worries, a recording will be provided after the session. And also, we want to make sure that the presentation's relevant to you. So if you have any specific questions for our panelists, please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom. And of course, our number there is our enrollment number that you can call, of course, when we're available. And in regard to the program itself, the way it's set up is it's 12 courses in total. These are 15-week asynchronous courses, and you take two per semester. So if you maintain that pace through fall, spring, and summer, you would actually finish the program in 2 years. And like many of the programs that we have at the university, it's SACSOG accredited. There is no GMAT or GRE requirement, and the curriculum itself is grounded in practice. And so, as we continue with the webinar, I'm very honored to present our panelists today. Three outstanding panelists. Our first from the faculty, Dr. Callie Curley, and she'll be joined by two superb alumni, Dr. Stephanie Thomas and Roxana Limas. Welcome, everyone. And now diving right into the Q&A session, I'm actually going to start with Dr. Curley first. Can you tell us a bit about your role within the University of Miami and how you interact with the Online Master of Public Administration?
Yeah, of course. So I am the Director of Graduate Studies here at the University of Miami for our Masters of Public Administration, Masters of Public Policy programs, whether the format's in person or online. I oversee things like curriculum, student internships, capstones. We do all sorts of things at the U, put on events and whatnot. We try to make all of those things available to our online students as well. And of course, our wonderful little newsletter that we have been putting together. I teach in our online program in your sort of capstone class, the public program evaluation course, and our public policy process class, and another one, I think, too. And aside from teaching, I'm the person you come to when you've got any issues, career discussions you want to have, so that I can get you connected to the right person. I think that about summarizes, Omar.
It's fantastic. And speaking of the discussion part, of course, the program is completely virtual. And, how do faculty make themselves accessible for questions and discussions?
Yes, every single faculty member operates a little bit differently. So I can speak from sort of my case and sort of what we recommend as best practice, but everybody does things just a little bit different. In all of my classes, I have open virtual office hours. I hold about an hour a week for my online classes. If nobody shows up, I'm usually caught recording a live lecture that turns into an announcement about whatever's going on that week. Um, but other faculty might have a session in the beginning of a course that is strongly encouraged, where they give you a lowdown on resources and whatnot. Some faculty have mandatory meet and greets. So, in other words, a portion of your grade, maybe 50 points or something like this, would be you setting up office hours to introduce yourself to them. But everybody does things just a little bit different.
Absolutely. And so I know earlier I made the comment about the curriculum being grounded in practice. How do you feel the curriculum's designed to help students be successful in real-world scenarios?
Great question. So there are two really good answers to this question. One is that everything that we design, from our assignments to simulations to activities that students are doing within the course, is encouraged to be put into practice. So if you are working, we want you to use your workplace as a discussion point. We want you to use your workplace as your capstone, in part because we want you guys to see that those skills and tools that we're giving you actually do translate into the real world. They're not these amorphous things that we've kind of picked out of hats that are theories that we're like, this is important to you. And then the other piece, I think I forgot. Remind me the question again, Omar.
Oh, like in terms of the curriculum helping students succeed, like in real world scenarios that they
Yes.
encounter.
Okay. The other part of the answer I was going to give you is about your peer group. So we cohort our students, and the cohort is phenomenal. So you're not just learning from your faculty member, you're also learning from your peers' applications of those theories to their work. So you're not just seeing sort of my interpretation of how this works as a faculty member, but also where your peers have seen this transpire within their workplace. So you're getting exposure to things that director level folks are doing in their job right now that these theories are applying to. And so you kind of get the best of both worlds, if you will, the theory from us and the practice in the application of that theory, as well as what you learned from your peers in your cohort.
That's really fascinating, and I know, of course, you mentioned and we discussed a bit about like real world applicability. And so, with that being said, with the MPA program, what are like some key skills or learnings?
Yeah, so I mean, budget analysis is one. Some statistical analysis is another, and I know that those might be somewhat scary. I'm happy to take questions on that. But other things would be evaluation skills. In one of the classes on government and business, we do sort of like a fragility audit for collaboration. So how do you build a collaboration that withstands exogenous shocks or changes in the external environment? And so every class has their own sort of thing that they're doing. Our nonprofit class asks you to build a plan for, your own sort of nonprofit. So we're really trying to get folks to think about what these theories mean on the ground, if you will.
Okay, that's wonderful. And how does earning a Master of Public Administration set students apart in the current job market?
Well, lots of people have been interested in lots of jobs lately, and there has been lots of turnover at the federal level. So, having a master's degree helps do a couple of things. One, it gives you a built-in network of people who are doing things in places and spaces you might be interested in. I'm also doing a lot of talking, so I'm happy to, sorry, random pivot, but happy to turn the mic over at some point too. Um, there's a lot of like places and spaces where you get to connect with folks that are your peers, who might actually know of a job available that would be a great fit for you. There's also the sort of promotion bump that comes with having a master's. You get a little bit more flexibility and ease in marketing yourselves. And I think Roxana and Dr. Thomas might have some great experiences that they could definitely talk about related to this exact same question.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's a great pivot. And uh, Dr. Thomas, if you want to go first.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, I would agree with everything that Dr. Curley has said. Having a master's in any program, especially the MPA program, definitely leverage your career. And it had, for me, back in 2018, when I received mines, I became the deputy city clerk and supervisor of election for a local municipality, which I'm still with, and I've been with them for about close to 25 years. So I have seen the benefits of having the master's degree in my career path. Mhm.
And Roxana.
No, I echo what both of these amazing ladies have said. I mean, the master's definitely makes you stand out a whole lot, but the master's from University of Miami, it's definitely something that I remember when I officially could put it on my resume that I graduated and I applied when I went to apply for the current job that I'm at today. The first thing they noticed was, oh, University of Miami, and I said, yeah, because it's just very prestigious because I mean, it's very prestigious and everything, the skills that you learn in this program, like Dr. Curley said, it is completely translated to the job force. You come in as a student and you come out as just a whole different person, just new and improved. So it's great.
Yeah, it does make a difference when it's from UM.
Yeah,
No, thank you for sharing that. And of course, while we're with the alumni, excuse me, and your experiences here, I wanted to touch on how did you know the time was right to pursue a graduate degree, and what impact did you hope having an MPA would have on your career?
Hmm. Well, I didn't know it was a good time. I just knew that I needed to further my education because I had a goal. So I decided with life happening around me, I needed to have it and to leverage myself as far as my career and where I was going. And eventually, after receiving my MPA, within a week, I was accepted into the doctorate program with Eastern Virginia Medical School, and I started right after graduation. So it really helped me in that capacity to, um, I would say, being at UM helped me write better. And it helped me through my research projects during my doctorate program. So I'm happy I did it. And I did have the support of my family who also helped me through the process as well. So that was important. Mhm.
That's great. And Roxana?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think, it came to a certain point where, I used to work at a sheriff's office back then, and I would see everyone, trying to elevate in their career. And I was like, I really want to elevate as well. But at the time I was I had an on-call job. It was really difficult. And it was already special to me because I wanted to come to this school since I was 17, and but I didn't think I was good enough at the time to apply for it. And obviously years later, when I knew it was ready, it was like, okay, the school doesn't, they don't need to take a GRE. I don't have to take another state exam or any kind of exam. The flexibility, which was huge for me. And I knew that I would have just again like the support all around. And I think that once you have that inkling of I want to pursue it, I think that's when it's a sign of you're ready. Just go for it. It's just the push that you kind of need for yourself. And I'm glad I did because I think that you learn a lot when it came, like what Dr. Thomas said about the writing skills. But to me, I think, again, like I personally, I went in, and I always go back to it, but you go in thinking, okay, this is all I can do. And then by the time you're graduating, like you're applying to everywhere because like I can do it all. So it's great. Yeah. That's just
Fantastic. And Dr. Curley, I wanted to actually circle back to you real quick. How do you feel the online setting helps students leverage connections to make their career more successful?
When you don't have to physically be in Miami, you can be anywhere. And that means that your network is anywhere. So if you wanted to, sorry, this is probably a little bit of a tangent, but if you wanted to say move somewhere, you've already got a built-in network of folks who might help you find a career of interest in those places and spaces. And so that's kind of a nice added bonus of the online environment is that you're not all sort of gridlocked, right? The other nice thing is that you get sort of that prestige of the U in an online environment and capacity without having to sit in Miami traffic. which is a nice bonus if you ask somebody that has to sit in Miami traffic frequently. Yeah, so I mean, there's a bunch of different things, right? But as with anything, I think what you put in is what you get out, right? A lot of people ask questions about, oh, in an AI world, is online worth it? Well, if you're using AI to do all of the things for you, then probably not, right? Because AI could do it for you. But our faculty are really intentional about giving you things that have to require your brain power to function. And so AI might be able to give you advice, but it can't tell you what parts of your own experience apply to these theories. And so we're trying to build something that is, I wouldn't say AI proof because I'm sure folks get around it, but that is really challenging you in a way that supports your future development and makes you different than other people coming out who are using AI, because eventually they're going to be replaced. Should I not say that, Omar? Am I not supposed to say that? Sorry.
No, thank you for sharing those insights and for Dr. Thomas and Roxana in terms of, what the faculty bring to the table. How do you feel they influenced your learning and why it was important?
Oh, I'll let Roxana answer first.
They, I try not to, every single time you guys ask this question, I try not to get emotional, which is, I don't wear mascara on purpose for this. Um, I've learned so much from each of my professors. I mean, they are just a wealth of knowledge, in their field. I mean, and it's more than just the material itself, right? Because they make it such a safe place where, what Dr. Curley was saying, that you can share your work experiences, you can share whatever you want, and it's not if there no one's gonna judge you, or anything like that. It's safe. It feels safe, and so you learn a lot about, like, just kind of with the budgeting. I mean, with the world of victim advocacy, I mean, how many times have I heard grant funding limitations, X, Y, and Z? And then working with like the private and the nonprofit, and everyone has their own red tape, and learning how to work together and different types of leaderships types, and how do you manage those, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like the whole 9 yards, even the statistics. When I know it sounds like what Dr. Craig said, it sounds a little scary, but I think because it's so applied to what you do, it makes it a little easier to understand, and it all comes together, which is really nice. But I think that it's not just the material for me, my experience. For me, it was a lot of the skills that you kind of mirror them, right? Because they teach you that you are resilient, you are smart, you're strong, like you can go after whatever you want to do. And because these wonderful professors, I mean, they're leaders in their right, and they have earned it. And just like, oh, I'm gonna be like that too. So that was just my experience personally.
Well said, Roxana. So in my experience, I found the professors to be, oh my gosh, like Roxana said, every time I talk about this, it's very heartfelt. I was going through a time in my life where I was a caretaker for my late husband, and all I had to do was make a phone call or send an email to my professors and let them know, this is what's going on with me. Can I get an extension on my assignment, or, anything that affected my turning in an assignment that week? They were very, uh, I would say, what's the word? Um, Compassionate, and had empathy for my situation at the time, and got me through the program for the 2 years. And I was proud of myself in doing that. And I thank them every day. I'm just so grateful for them for being there. So having that conversation, having an open, honest conversation with your professors is very important, because we all go through life and life be lifing, right? And we just have to be realistic about it, and they understand that. And that's a compassion that I love about them.
I'd have to add really quickly too, because Listen, and I agree because Dr. Curley, listen, she was my professor and she knew. I cried when I was going through my own stuff. But if it wasn't for her, I'm not trying to cry. I don't, I don't know how I would have made it through.
Yeah.
You would have
That's
made
really
it
good to hear.
just fine. It
You had
just
a
might
good
have taken
team.
a little longer.
No,
But
let's
maybe
not imagine that kind of a world.
So one of the frequent questions that I get from applicants, and even once we have students that are admitted, is, career connections, professional networking. That's kind of like the very big general graduate student question that I do get. And so um, my question would be actually for everyone here. In terms of earning, the MPA, going through the curriculum and the content, how do you feel it prepares you for these leadership roles, in the public sector and nonprofit sector that a lot of our prospective students are trying to go into or move up in?
Well, I believe that the UOnline MPA program prepared me for the leadership role. I was a very quiet and shy person before I got into this program, and then when I also went into these other networks, right? There's a lot of networks that help you with finding mentors to help you through the program. And these public servants, they're willing to help you. Even through my projects, like the budgeting and the finance projects. I turned to a mentor at another city, another municipality, and they helped me get through the process of understanding what is a budget, what is a finance, and why is it so important? Because when your constituents come to you, you have to be able to answer questions, right? In any setting, whether you're in the private setting, a nonprofit setting, it's important to understand that. And I believe the leadership programs that we had within the university's curriculum helped me to build on that and to see that there are opportunities out there and others that's willing to help you.
And I think for the alumni, I mean, you have alumni everywhere. You have from all over the world, which is very nice, right? And they're so helpful. I don't know how many emails I get of like, hey, we're meeting here, we're meeting there, and it's nice because you never feel like you're alone. And I
Mhm.
think of the beauty of this program in particular is that yeah, it's online, but I always have the running joke that I used to live in well, I still live in Pasco County, but at the time I was, and I I'd be so ingrained with the online because it didn't feel like an online class. So by the time I come out my front door, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm not in Miami, I'm in Pasco. So but that's because the relationships you develop within the course, your classmates. I mean, and then everyone's kind of sharing, you find your people and then you kind of start sharing just different opportunities within. But going, and again, the professors are so amazing too, because they're like, you think like, oh, it's fine, they probably don't think of me. Oh no, they think of you. They do, because it's really nice when I hear classmates saying, oh my God, I had this professor, like there was a job opportunity that they saw and they thought it would be a great fit and they told me to go for it. You hear that time and time and time again. It is very much a like everyone is looking out for one another. It's just very different and it's nice. You feel like at home, like everyone's watching out for you.
can
So
I
may I add to that? I'm sorry.
go ahead? You go first.
I'm remembering the late Dr. West, who was always there to help me throughout the process, helping me, better myself in the program. So I have to, give homage to him because he was really helpful with all the students. And Dr. Curley, you're always there for me, and I appreciate that as well.
I have very big shoes to fill, and I'm doing my best.
And you are, and you are.
One of the things I was actually going to say to build on that a little bit, you guys talked about our compassion and empathy as a faculty, but I think really it boils down to like public service motivation. And our faculty have it in way more spades than most. I cannot speak to how wonderful they are. In part because there are too many words to say, and we would be here way past our 45-minute mark, Omar. And I won't do that to you all. So instead, I will just say that they take time out of their day to serve as liaisons and faculty advisors for our student ICMA group, for our Pi Alpha Alpha Student Honors Chapter, for our ASPA South Florida sort of group. I don't know exactly what it's called off the top of my head right
Our
now, but
Florida chapter.
yeah, yeah, just the chapter. And so our faculty are so connected to the community, and we work with NASPA, we work with the local ASPA chapters, and they give so much of themselves that there's no other word to describe it besides public service motivation. Like they give.
Yeah, I agree.
That's really awesome. And for my last question here, Dr. Curley, I wanted to ask you, what advice, and forgive me, because you actually did touch a little bit on this, just in terms of how much, you put into the program that you're a part of, but what advice would you give to prospective students considering the MPA program?
What advice would I give? Oh man, be patient with yourself because you're going to learn an awful lot. You're going to have hard days. Dr. Thomas, you unmuted. You want to say something about that?
No, 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 no. I was just no, go ahead. You're
Okay.
you're right on track.
Be patient with yourself. You're going to have hard days. I'd also say you're going to have really good days, and you should celebrate those because those milestones are important. You should communicate early and often. That's like the most important piece of advice that I can give anybody because I, as a faculty member, have way more discretion in what happens before a deadline passes than I do after the deadline passes. Um, we know what you submit, but unless you reach out and talk to us, we don't necessarily know who you are, what you want, where you want to go, who you want to be, right? Because we all want to be somebody when we grow up. So communicate early and often, not just about your missed deadlines, but like about your hopes and your dreams. And I know that sounds corny, but really, I can't send you job descriptions unless I know the job you want, right? And I'm not going to get that from the post that you put about this one specific unique topic in one of my classes, right? And so the more you engage with us as faculty, the more useful of a resource we can be. The other thing I would say is join our student groups because you can do that virtually. And when you join a student chapter of ICMA, that means you are a member of ICMA and you have a local chapter that you now have access to at the student rate, which means you can go to all of the local ICMA events and meet and greet and mingle with your local ICMA network. Um, Omar, now I just feel like I'm rambling. So can you remind me of the question?
Oh, it was just, I think you were nailing it on the head. Just advice for, prospective
Okay,
students and what they need to know to be successful.
just advice in general. Students get scared of the budget and finance class. They get scared of statistics. Don't be. Um, we have hired the most incredible faculty member, Dr. Ruan Shen, who is fantastic at making the math part of budget and finance and the math part of statistics somehow exciting. And I constantly have students who send me emails saying, oh my gosh, Dr. C, you know that budget 2 class I told you I would never take in a million years? I think I want in. And I don't know how or why she does this, but I'm pretty sure whatever she's doing, we have to bottle and like sell elsewhere because it's fantastic. So, treat it seriously, but also be more excited than scared of challenging yourself in that way. Other advice that I might give. I think that's the majority of it.
Well, thank you. That was really helpful. And for Dr. Thomas and Roxana, any last thoughts, advice for prospective students?
You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, yeah.
Now I'm muted. Okay, thank you. So Dr. Curley mentioned some wonderful organization, which I'm a part of. I'm actually on the board for ASPA South Florida chapter and also for ICMA. So when you go into these public spaces, you're not only taking what you know as a student, being a member of these organizations, but they also transition into the public sector. So as city managers, as assistant city managers, any leadership role within the organization, they have a space for you in these memberships. So don't be afraid. And there's also other memberships that you can be a part of. And like I said, they're mentors that are ready for you to come to them, ask them questions. They're willing and willing to help you because they are, public servants, and that's what they want to do to help you throughout your career to make sure that you succeed in what you're trying to do. So don't be afraid to ask. And if you're worried about finances from going to school, UM does have scholarships, so that's something you can inquire about, and I'm sure Omar can give you more information on that. And that's what helped me get through the program as well.
And well, and you ladies are so wonderful. You guys made it so much easier for the end. My recommendation is just go for it. If you have that inkling and that desire, just go for it, because it all starts with you, right? And you have the tools, you have everything waiting for you on the other side of it. We just gotta be, I guess, kind of brave enough to go into it. So, but you being here is a great first step. So, and plus with that waiver fee, whew, I took advantage of that. So, but I say go for it. It's a wonderful place that I'm not trying to get emotional. It's just a wonderful place that if I could do it all over again, I would. Because it's absolutely wonderful and it's a great experience, great professors, great people, and a passion. There's a lot of master's degrees out there, and they're all wonderful in their own way. But UM has something very special, and unless you're in it, you understand the UM magic.
Well, thank you, everyone. That was amazing. And before we close out, we do want to hit on a few important items for everyone out there, especially regarding our resources. And throughout the conversation discussion that we've had, you probably heard a little bit here and there of some of the resources, but just to kind of, you can visually see them a little bit better. Our campus and online students have the same access to resources. The only difference is the modality. Our faculty, staff do such a wonderful job of making sure that our students, stay connected, and the students themselves being peers to each other. And so we have a lot of different types of ways for students to be able to interact, from the Topple Career Center, which has a number of different professional services, alumni services as well, disability services, access to our online library. We also have veteran resources as well, that isn't listed there. So just tons of different ways for students to really feel part of the community. So again, even though it's virtual, even though it's not face to face in person with someone, you still get that same connection as if you were in person at the school. And so for those of you wondering, well, what do you need to apply? We've kind of covered what's being covered in the program, resources, etc. And so with that being said, of course, transcript, 2 letters of recommendation, all of this, by the way, is done on through the online portal. So there isn't a need to send things separately. It all is uploaded through this one system. Your resume, for those of you that are interested in using financial aid, or even if it was an option that you wanted to consider, we strongly encourage you to fill out the FAFSA. The turnaround time for that is handled by the Department of Education. We don't control that, so we always encourage students to do that as soon as you can. You get a summary back that gives you the graduate aid that you'll have for the year, and then that becomes an option for you if you choose to use it. And like we tell students, even if you don't plan on having it, just having that completed takes care of it just in case you do need it. Personal statement, as you can see, and then of course the submission of the online application itself. And remember, once your entire file is complete, then that's when we're able to move it forward to the admissions committee for review. And so with the upcoming final deadline, which is Monday, July 27th, Time's moving pretty fast here. We always encourage prospective students to try to get it in, get everything completed as soon as you can. Space is limited, and so we highly encourage students for that. And of course, typically, we have the $50 application fee. Of course, as you see there for attending the information session, you can apply the waiver towards that. Again, the final admission deadline is Monday, July 27th. You have our number there if you need to speak to one of the enrollment advisors. For those of you that are ready, there's a link for the portal, and then, of course, the QR code for those who want to use it. And before we do let you go, I do want to once again give a big thank you to our amazing panelists today. And for everyone out there, we hope to see you soon as a future K. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.